TV studios have a million priorities while putting together a series, but sometimes the creators can still find the time to pull a fast one on their audience. There are times when it can be acceptable or even necessary to do so, when leaks are practically guaranteed for a show, forcing the bigwigs to devise countermeasures such as divulging false details to lead fans astray in the hope that fans ignore the real spoilers. So let's take a look at some examples. I'm Adam, this is What Culture, and here are 10 TV shows that blatantly trolled viewers. Number 10. The deceptive trailer, ObiWan Kenobi. Since its early days, Star Wars has gone above and beyond to conceal pivotal plot points. Almost nobody working on The Empire Strikes Back knew the twist revolving around Darth Vader, and little was known about Return of the Jedi's production at first, since it was filmed under the fake title Blue Harvest. With this in mind, Star Wars lovers should have expected the trailer for Disney Plus's ObiWan Kenobi to be spoiler-free. However, nobody was ready for how disingenuous the promotions were. Even though the teaser implied the story involved Obi-Wan protecting a young Luke Skywalker, that wasn't the case. Instead, the series mainly focused on the titular Jedi safeguarding Leia Organa. But that's not all. Obi-Wan Kenobi's trailers indicated the Grand Inquisitor would be the big bad. However, the Sith agent is disposed of in the second episode, allowing his underling, Reva, to serve as a major antagonist. Since the Grand Inquisitor has been a fan favorite for years, it was disappointing to have the insidious Force wielder switched out for a far less compelling villain until his surprise return close towards the series finale. In a way, it's impressive how Disney misled viewers with their trailers. However, many Star Wars fans took umbrage with this fact, believing Obi-Wan Kenobi was falsely advertised. Number 9. The home screen, She-Hulk Attorney at Law. She-Hulk Attorney at Law trolls the audience from the beginning to end, and not just because the green-skinned superheroine constantly breaks the fourth wall. Jen Walters makes a subtle but clear jab at how the actor portraying the Hulk has been recast. She repeatedly pokes fun at Marvel Studios and its CEO Kevin Feige. Also, the overarching plot literally revolves around online trolls. However, the biggest troll moment is when the show appears to freeze up. While the Hulk and Abomination fight each other in the final episode, She-Hulk criticizes how lame the climax is, asking the audience, "Is this working for you?" Suddenly, the episode is seemingly interrupted, causing the Disney Plus home screen to appear. At first, a lot of viewers thought that something went wrong with the streaming service. After a few seconds though, She-Hulk can be heard complaining, proving this glitch is all part of the show. The Jade Giantess then bursts out of the She-Hulk thumbnail and jumps into the Marvel Studios assembled thumbnail, so she can tell the series writers how disappointed she is with their work. The reception for She-Hulk may have been mixed, but the home screen malfunction was a clever idea that fooled most watchers, and in line with the fourth wall breaking presented in the She-Hulk comics. Number 8. Jon's dead, just kidding, Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones has no shortage of shocking scenes. However, few moments blindsided the public as much as the death of Jon Snow in Season 5. Due to the story's supernatural elements, Game of Thrones veterans were adamant Jon would eventually return. These hopes were supposedly dashed when HBO emphasized the Winterfell warrior's time on the series was finished. However, it was clear HBO was telling fibs, since Jon Snow was resurrected in the following season. Not only that, he remained a key character for the rest of the show's run. Nevertheless, many fans bought HBO's deception hook, line, and sinker. Before Season 6 aired, Kit Harington gave an interview with Entertainment Weekly saying, "I have never been told the future of things in this show, but this is the one time I have. They sat me down and said, this is how it is. I've been told I'm dead. I'm dead. I'm not coming back next season." To ensure nothing leaked, the cast signed non-disclosure agreements, vowing they wouldn't divulge Snow's true fate. The showrunners went so far as to ban the use of the words Jon Snow on set, instead referring to the character as LC, Lord Commander. The deception may have been extreme, but it was worth it, since Jon Snow's revival was very much welcome, if a little bit obvious. Number 7. Brian's dead, just kidding, Family Guy. After being on the air for over a decade, you'd think a TV series would run out of ways to shock viewers. However, Family Guy managed to pull it off. In Season 12, Episode 6, Brian Griffin was hit by a car, leaving him mortally wounded. Before shuffling off his mortal coil, Brian gave a heartwarming goodbye to Peter and his family for taking him in. In a desperate attempt to move on, the Griffins adopt a new dog called Vinny. Considering Vinny was incorporated into the opening song in the very next episode, it looked like he was here to stay. Although Family Guy created creator Seth MacFarlane knew Brian's death would upset the fanbase, he didn't expect them to be angry, like really angry. Mere hours after the episode aired, a petition was set up to have Brian Griffin resurrected, which gained well over 1,000 signatures. However, MacFarlane never intended for Brian's death to be permanent. In fact, it was reversed 2 episodes later. According to executive producer Steve Callahan, Brian's brief demise was simply a fun way to shake things up. Number 6. It Was All a Dream, Roseanne. Before Roseanne, there had been few sitcoms that depicted a working-class family in such depth. Although it had incredible comic talent, it was the realistic portrayal of a blue-collar family that allowed Roseanne to be one of the highest-rated shows for years. So when the Connors won the lottery in Season 9's opening episode, it felt like Roseanne's entire premise was thrown out of the window. Rather than trying to make ends meet, the Connors found themselves in preposterous scenarios, like meeting Prince Charming or foiling a terrorist plan. Just when it looked like things couldn't get any more ridiculous, the last episode revealed all of the events in Season 9 occurred in Roseanne's imagination. So, back to normal, right? Nope. It turns out Roseanne's husband Dan died of a heart attack. To help her cope with the loss, Roseanne invented a fantasy that her family had won the lottery. Although this moment was meant to be a real gotcha moment, longtime fans were enraged how the beloved comedy decided to end things on a downer. This ending was so universally hated, the 2017 revival of Roseanne wiped the slate clean, as if Season 9 never happened. And while we're on this subject, I want to know from you, what's the one time you feel like you were blatantly trolled by a TV show? Make sure you let us know in the comments down below, and the usual stuff. While you're there, give us a like and a subscribe, that would be lovely. Alright, back to the list. Number 5. Where's He-Man? Masters of the Universe Revelation. Kevin Smith's Masters of the Universe Revelation promised a He-Man story unlike any other. Although this reboot offers something drastically different from other He-Man properties, that's not necessarily a good thing. Revelation's jaw-dropping trailer gives the impression he would duke it out with his longtime foe Skeletor, which is pretty standard. Subverting all expectations, Smith decided to kill off the 2 iconic characters in the first episode, turning Captain Teela into the main character. Although He-Man appears in flashbacks, it didn't feel right, since the beefy hero wasn't directly involved in the main plot. When He-Man and Skeletor were revived halfway through the show though, it seemed like fans were finally going to get everything they craved. But since the resurrected He-Man was left in his mortal form, the most powerful man in the universe doesn't get a chance to cut loose until the end. To add insult to injury, Evil Lynn suddenly becomes the series' overarching baddie, turning Skeletor into a second stringer. Even though the show's creators made these rash decisions to keep things fresh, all they managed to do was piss off millions of He-Man enthusiasts. Number 4. Delay the most hyped episode, South Park. Considering South Park has been on the air for 20 plus years now, it's easy to forget how Trey Parker and Matt Stone's naughty cartoon cooked up a storm when it premiered, thanks to its profanity and vulgar humor. However, the first season of South Park also caused a major stir due to its cliffhanger ending. In the episode in question, Cartman becomes obsessed with learning the identity of his father. To find out the truth, all the men in town agree to a DNA test. Unfortunately, the episode ends moments before the results are revealed. So when season 2 aired 5 weeks later, fans assumed all would be revealed about Cartman's dad. But since this season aired on April Fool's Day, the creators thought it'd be funny to release a different episode, involving Terrence and Philip stopping Saddam Hussein from conquering Canada. Just to really get under people's skin, the next episode wasn't released for another 3 weeks. Unsurprisingly, this practical joke led to Comedy Central receiving thousands of complaints via phone and email from enraged viewers. Since South Park is no stranger to making fun of, well, everything, it wouldn't be out of character for Stone and Parker to pull a stunt like this nowadays. But since South Park was in its infancy at the time, nobody saw this gag coming. Number 3. Moriarty's so-called return, Sherlock. Although Jim Moriarty only featured in 2 official Sherlock Holmes stories, the self-proclaimed Napoleon of crime quickly became the master detective's sworn enemy. So, when Moriarty debuted in the BBC series Sherlock, it looked like the malevolent supervillain would be battling the titular sleuth for years to come. That's why it was a surprise to see Moriarty blow his brains out at the end of season 2. Could Sherlock's biggest rival really be dead? Apparently not. In the show's penultimate episode, Moriarty releases a video message throughout London, repeatedly repeatedly blaring out the words, "Did you miss me?" hinting at his inevitable return. Even though the idea of Moriarty being alive was baffling, it seemed fitting that Sherlock's final battle would be against his greatest adversary. But it was all a lie, since Moriarty was really dead. Though he does appear in the last episode, it's later revealed to be a flashback. So instead of tangling with Moriarty, Sherlock battles his secret sister Eurus in some weird game that resembles a cross between Saw and the Crystal Maze. Basically, it wasn't the sensational finale we were hoping for. Although Sherlock's writing team always tries to find creative ways to catch viewers out, it was unfair for them to tease a rematch between the titular detective and his arch-nemesis, having no intention of fulfilling that promise. Number 2. None of it is real, Ghost Watch. On the 31st of October 1992, BBC One aired a TV special called Ghost Watch, which focused on the most haunted house in Britain. Though plenty of viewers were expecting a cheesy documentary, they were scared out of their minds after seeing a sinister spectre called Pipes tormenting the TV presenters and camera crew. Of course, the whole thing was staged. Despite being depicted as a live documentary, Ghost Watch was heavily scripted and filmed long before it aired. Sadly, the majority of viewers didn't see the funny side of it. BBC was inundated with 1 million phone calls and 2,000 official complaints. With reports that children were left traumatized after watching the program, Ghost Watch instantly gained a reputation in infamy. It caused such uproar that it's never been aired again on British television. Contrary to popular belief, the mockumentary wasn't meant to fool anyone. Not only was Ghost Watch advertised as a drama, it opened with a written by title card. But since many viewers tuned in late, they didn't catch on. The fact it had the legendary Michael Parkinson as a presenter further cemented the show's legitimacy. Despite the fact Ghost Watch successfully duped a nation it was never meant to. And number 1, the episode that never was, Inside Number 9. Steve Pemberton and Reece Shearsmith's mind-bending anthology is renowned for its perverse humour, sharp writing, and incredible ability to blend horror and comedy. Since each story is connected to the number 9, fans repeatedly asked the creators to devise an episode centered around a number 9 bus. Years later, Pemberton and Shearsmith seemingly accepted this proposal, announcing an episode called Hold On Tight, parodying the 1969 series On the Buses. When the episode was about to air, a BBC report suddenly announced it was being replaced with a new game show called 3x3. Since Inside Number 9 was known for being unconventional, veterans of the show were wary this announcement could be a wind-up, half expecting the lead actors to pop up at any moment. But until the end, 3x3 felt like an authentic program, going so far as to cast comedian and game show host Lee Mack as the quizmaster. The fake episode seemed so genuine, many frustrated viewers switched it off and complained to the BBC, oblivious they'd fallen for an elaborate joke. What made this hoax more convincing is the fact Pemberton and Shearsmith created posters, publicity photos, and trailer footage of Hold On Tight, despite the fact no such episode exists. In a way, the gag is still going, since some devoted fans are adamant Hold On Tight is a real episode that will air in the future. And I'm sorry to break it to you guys, but it's never gonna happen.